What is up, winning team? So this is one of those videos where I give you guys a little update on what's happening on the channel before I post the new era of content on the channel. So what is up, winning team? It's been ages since I've uploaded a video. It's actually been more than 2 weeks since I've uploaded a video, like I've recorded a video that I'm actually for sure going to upload, because I took some time off because things have been changing and the era has shifted and just there's a lot to unpack. So I thought, for those of you who've been here for a long time, I wanted to address you guys because this is honestly probably the last time we're going to be able to address everything, knowing the background that we've all had together as we are right now, before, as things are changing already. A lot of people who watch my videos now, and the audience has changed slightly. There's a lot of new folks who don't know where we've been over the last however many years. So I wanted to make this video specifically for those of you who have been here for a while, to kind of let you know what's been going on and what's coming up. And then obviously for anybody that's new, that's not really going to make a difference, because a lot has changed. So I took off a couple of weeks. I say took off. I say it like that because I really love to post videos. So whenever I make a decision not to post, it's not something that I'm happy to be doing, but I usually just do it because I know that maybe it's the right thing. And in the midst of all of that, you know, I've been sharing a lot, especially the last 2 years, about my own personal experiences. And I'm going to adjust that partially, just because I feel like the stuff that I've shared with you guys who've been here for a long time, I shared with you all because, well, I started sharing it just because I wanted to have a place to be able to talk about what I want to talk about. And I think that's something that people still don't realize, especially newer people to the channel, don't realize that I'm not here. I already don't have anywhere to talk about what I want to talk about anyway in real life. So the whole purpose of me making videos is to have somewhere to talk about what I can't talk about anywhere else. So why am I now going to not talk about what I want to talk about on my own channel and put myself back in the same problem as to why I decided to start making videos in the first place? You know what I'm saying? But the tides have changed slightly in the sense that, you know, let's just say I have invested a lot of time, effort, and energy into other ways of also saying what needs to be said. And there's a lot of changes that have happened. I'm not going to actually say anything, and you guys will just have to wait and see the videos as they come up, or whatever these other projects that are happening, because there's been a lot of new projects, like literally virtually overnight. And like yesterday was really the big one, because yesterday it's been a chain of events. I've been trying to edit this vlog of this crazy day that I had, like last week or early this week kind of thing. Oh, Saturday, where I just woke up and like just so much had happened. A family member of mine had passed away, one of my aunties, so that was crazy. And then I ended up going to this theatre production, which then ended up leading for me to make certain conclusions. It then also led that day, amongst other things, I also had to sign a contract for another thing, and like something that I'm, again, I don't know, you guys, as you guys know, I'm basically, the long and short of it is, I'm really waffling here. The long and short of it is, I have all the things I've been saying to you guys about, like, oh, I'm really scared about this and I'm really scared about this. I decided to just take the leap in the end. I had a conversation with God a couple weeks ago. I said, you know what, God, fine, I'll do it. I'm not excited about a lot of these things because I still am thinking a lot about the cons. I'm not going to lie. And the reason for that, again, I know that people say you should focus on the positive sides, but for me, I hate being on an emotional roller coaster. Like, I hate loving one moment and then having such high highs and low lows. So that's something I don't want to invest in anymore. So I'm focusing on structuring my life to have more of a, I'm like basically saying to the Lord, you tell me whatever I have to do where I don't have to be on this consistent roller coaster of emotions I feel like I've been on my entire life, of just these like really, really high highs, these really, really low lows. It's exhausting. Just the change between the two, I find exhausting, whether it's going from the low to the high or the high to the low. And so that's why I tend to be pessimistic, because at least here I feel stabilized, because it's like, okay, at least I'm not like, because one thing that I really fear above all else is losing my mind. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like the one thing that I have in my favor always is that no matter who comes up against me and what even the world has to say, even if you take me for a psychiatric evaluation, I'm not crazy. I'm not medically considered crazy. I'm not medically considered whatever. The one thing that protects my voice, and this is what it all comes down to, my ability to be able to speak on behalf of the people that I care about, speak on behalf of the people that don't have a voice, is that my mental health and my brain is intact. I'm not crazy. I'm not losing my mind. I don't have any diagnoses to just write off what I'm saying. And that is so important to me. And I don't think people realize how important that is, because, of course, as I've said to you guys before, like, what happens all the time, especially because I know that obviously the enemy, the kingdom of darkness, is working against us, right? The losing team is working against us. One thing I know, when we all know, the easiest way to shut down the person telling the truth is, as we always say, cancel crazy coffin, right? Cancel them. I'm not big enough to be cancelled, and I still cancel myself anyway. Crazy, make that person seem crazy. And I realized that's why my whole life a lot of people considered the things and choices I make to be crazy, which again is funny, because when the same things that people think, this is one of those things that we talk about with the Lord. And I'm saying this for you guys to actually learn something as well. Like, the same things that people think about me that makes me crazy are the same things that bring the brilliance that people also desire. So that's what's another funny thing. Like, people be like, I see you doing this like this. I think you should do this like that. And I'm like, but the thing that made me who I am is because I don't do things the way you do them or the way the world does them. That's how I got here. That's how I got to being in the winning team. That's how I get myself into, like, again, all these opportunities. Like, basically the long and short of it, of what's happening behind the scenes, is, let's just say, the Lord came round again with an opportunity that was outside of my possible dreams, of anything I thought that was possible in the short term. When I say short term, I mean like a number of years. So I was like, just look again. My faith has worked itself out. My faith, my honesty, my authenticity. For some reason, and I believe it's because God intended for us to be honest, and the truth shall set you free. Every time I'm just honest, authentic, and hold on to my faith, it just always works out for me, whether it makes sense to other people or not. So that's kind of where we're at now, like, as a channel, as a team. It's like, I am diversifying, if you will, for the sake of the maximum win. You know what I mean? I wasn't really that caring about winning for myself. Like, I kind of, on this channel, I've coasted along, basically like sharing things to me that I want to share to others. And I kind of thought of it like, well, even if I don't feel excited about anything, I can like share what I do know to help other people who are excited about stuff. You know what I mean? I'm excited to meet the Lord. Like, that's what I'm the most excited for. And again, it's not because there's something wrong with me or whatever. It's purely simply because and I say this phrase to people all the time. There's so many things we say as humans where I'm like, we say this side, but we don't say the other side. So like, people say ignorance is bliss. Well, then what's the opposite of ignorance? If ignorance equals bliss, then what's the opposite of that? Right? Right? What is even the technical opposite of ignorance? Let's just Google it. Because I'm not good with English, you guys know. I really could just pause, but we're not doing that. That's another thing. Yeah, opposite of ignorance is bliss. You see? The computer's probably listening. Knowledge can cause sadness and suffering. Knowledge can cause sadness and suffering. And so we prefer to remain in ignorant bliss. Cognitive dissonance is when you are presented with the truth, but you cannot accept it, because to do so would jeopardize your entire belief system. I'm so glad I searched that. This is by Calvin and Hobbes, the opposite of what ignorance is bliss is. And that's exactly what I'm saying to you guys. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That like, the truth is, the more you understand the truth, the more you'll see the world for itself. That's the God's honest truth. The more you'll see things for how they are, and the more you won't like. So for me, I can't just look at the world and go, oh, yay, I made it to tomorrow, because I'm here. This is my one time that I'm going to be alive. And so I want to use my time effectively. The world as it is and the state that it's in is as a result of us as humans, right? And our decisions and how we utilize or don't utilize our free will. So at the end of the day, it does matter to me, because when I see things on the news happening, I see, what's happening with the children, the child trafficking, when I see people stressed about how they're going to eat, what they're going to do, when I see all the dysfunction in people's families, the division amongst communities, it upsets me. And that's one thing that I think that I just don't think people can always understand. I feel like you guys here, the winning team, get it. That trying to tell me about me and my life and how I can do this and what is it that I want to be the solution for me I don't need anybody to do anything for me. God is doing everything for me. I would really like, if I could ask the world to do anything on my behalf, if I were to ask anybody for help, is for people to stand up in your own community. Stand on your values. Take opportunities to make a difference wherever you are. And that's really what I've honed down this whole message of what we're doing in the winning team, and what I would like to achieve through this and through everything I do is it's not about me trying to encourage, I use myself, because somebody's got to be vulnerable enough and somebody's got to be honest enough for us to do the work, right? Because as it says here, cognitive dissonance is when you're presented with the truth, but you cannot accept it because to do so would jeopardize your entire belief system. So I could know inside myself, right? I could know inside myself that my feelings of whatever, I could just push it to the side, as we all do. Oh, I'm just this kind of person. I'm just an angry person. I'm just I just have this disease, right? It goes back to the what do you call it? The diagnoses of so many of these disorders. Again, it's another thing that I find so frustrating, because I'm like, people don't really have disorders. What we have is a broken world. We have a world with people who have problems. It's easier to say, oh, it's a chemical imbalance, and it's diagnosable, right? Because then no one's responsible for where that thing came from, and no one has to talk about it. But if you look at all the stories of people who got any kind of diagnosis relating to something mental, there is always a root cause that is to do. And do I believe that our experiences produce chemicals and chemical reactions in our brains? Absolutely, because that's how God created for it to be. He created, I believe, for science and spirituality and the supernatural to work together. And I believe the science is just proof of what's happening on the supernatural level. But again, as a society, because it's easier to go, hey, let's just diagnose you with this, as opposed to, hey, let's delve deeper. Oh, you're considered neurodivergent. Why is that? Oh, because in society has decided that to be in a group setting, to be socially aware, you must not say what you think, right? Or overthink how you say everything and do everything for the fear of upsetting the other people. Now, I'm not saying that it's not good to be mindful in your communication. The Bible itself says we should love and go from grace and truth, right? We love from a place of grace and also truth at the same time. So we don't compromise the truth by being too gracious, and we're not shoving the truth down people's throats so much that we're not being gracious in our delivery, if that makes sense. As I do believe, as somebody else said, love is the tension between grace and truth. But the point is, the fact of the matter is that person is being labeled because they don't fit into a societal system. And so it's easier for us to label them and other them than deal with the fact that, realistically speaking, we're increasingly becoming a world where there is one script, and the script keeps getting stricter and stricter with more and more things to have been read between the lines and all these terms and conditions. Like, I decided to fully release myself off of the societal script. I am in publics, in social circles. I'm not going to do this thing of trying to uphold all of these social cues and these social things that I ain't got no freaking idea where they even came from. That, again, doesn't seem to be helping anything. And you see that even in countries like the UK right now. People are so upset about all this stuff happening. And I'm like, but you guys were the politically correct ones. You're the ones who created a society where speaking about topics like religion and politics is considered not politically correct. But now you want to be upset at the state of your country. Make it make sense and make a decision. So that's what I'm saying, that everything that I'm saying, I'm ready to double, triple, quadruple down on the fact that I'm not the crazy one here. The world is the crazy place. And that's the truth of it. And so in this new era of whatever it's going to be that's happening, and there's a lot of things going on, I'm just telling you guys that I'm not only am I not going to be shutting up, which is what the devil wants me to do, I'm going to amplify myself like across the board. And you guys are going to see exactly what that means. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe that the Lord convinced me to be here. Because if you'd asked me to do the thing that I agreed to do, which I can't believe I'm doing, but I'm so freaking excited about, is something I was literally dreaming a couple of weeks ago in tears. I was dreaming of like, God, I would love to be able to do this. I just really want to have a chance to do this. And then yesterday, unexpectedly, I get offered like, hey, do you want to do X, Y, Z? And I was thinking, no freaking way. I literally was thinking earlier this year, like how, oh God, I wish I could have this opportunity to do this. So, and again, all I'll say is, I've said to the Lord, I'm in, whatever the things are that it's going to be, whatever the pros, the cons, I'm in. I'm going all in. And it's scary. It's tough. I'm already facing some of the difficulties with it on a personal, or not on a personal level, but like from the things that I have been doing. But I made a commitment to the Lord that I'm going to see this thing through. And the truth is that I haven't really made that choice all this time up until a couple of weeks ago, where I was like, you know what, God, fine, I'll do it. Like, I'll do all the things. I know how it's going to go. I know how I'm going to be received. For the people that need to receive whatever it is that I'm going to put out into the world, into the universe, many people are going to be blessed. Many people are going to be offended. Quite frankly, I don't care. Because the truth is, and this is what I believe, so I'm just going to actually walk the way that I be talking more, is I'm not going to hell. This is the closest I'm ever going to get to hell anyway, my experience on earth. So right now, my focus and my fixation is, I was saying this to the girls at the Bible study that I was hosting yesterday, is I'm focusing on when I get to heaven. And we were talking about like being held account, like the difference between whether God is going to ask you to give an account for your life versus judgment, and how obviously you're being judged when you have not received Christ. That's your choice, which again, God will give you multiple opportunities. God is always giving us 100 opportunities. But on the other side, when you are in the kingdom, it's like, so what did you do? Like, I'm looking at it like I look at the people in the Bible and the scriptures and all these incredible, courageous people of God, who these are the people who inspire me. If you want to know who inspires me, it's the people in the Bible, because I'm like, wow, you people stood up against culture. You people stood up against, the religious people around you that were just doing whatever they did just for the sake of feeling good about themselves or whatever, or wanting to look like they're godly. These are people who stood up, and when they stood up, it made a shift for the kingdom. If these people didn't stand up and do what they did, despite whatever came up against them, all these people that the body of Christ loves to talk about, your Josephs, your Davids, your even your Marys, and then of course Jesus, who again made the choice to get onto the cross. He didn't have to. He made a choice to stand up and do what he did. Abraham to making the decisions that he made. Jacob, all of them. Jacob choosing to wrestle with God. All these different things. All these people in the Bible. Esther speaking up and speaking and stepping before the king, which should have been a reason to kill her. So she had to make the decision between, is she going to live comfortably with her and the king who's prepared to give her half of all of his kingdom, right? Or is she going to step up for her people and potentially save all of God's people by doing something that actually should cost her life? Like, that's what it means when God's like, what are you going to hold yourself accountable to? What are you going to call for account? So these are the people I'm going to be facing when I get to heaven. And I just had to get to the point where I had to just understand that at the end of the day, since that is, like I said, the God always is focused on our internal and the eternal, and the devil loves to operate in the external, which is what we can see, right? My thinking is like, what can I do so that when I get there, can be like, guys, the life that I lived, I did it in such a way that I contributed to the kingdom of heaven, because God has already given me everything, and God is already everything. That's why death isn't a thing that's crazy to me, because I'm never going to die. Dying isn't a part of my existence, not a part of my destiny, my future, because I was born again through Christ. I never know death. Now all I know is life, and my life will be eternal. My body will disappear one day, and will disintegrate into the ground or whatever. But my spirit, my soul that is here is going eternally going to live on, and his next step and its next stage is going to be with God in heaven. So I'm okay with that. And I've just got really okay. The last couple of weeks, I've just been like kind of sitting into, and also these new things, I'm just going to have to just full send everything and just be like, you know what? It is what it is. So yeah, winning team, I just want to say thank you to you guys who've been here for the long haul. Of just a lot of different ebbs and flows and changes and this and that and the others. Thank you guys so much for being here, and buckle up and stay tuned, because listen, all I can say is I put all my chips in the Lord and it is paying off. I'm watching things in the world crumbling, and systems and empires and platforms and all this stuff, some of which are some things I'm going to be talking about today. But you know what? It's like at the perfect timing as that's all happening. I'm realizing I'm looking around at the world and the world is on fire, and I feel like I'm there standing in the fire with Jesus, just like the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the Bible. You know, I'm standing there in the fire, but Jesus is there. So it's like, what's going to happen? This is what I'm saying. Death who? Death who? The Bible says that Jesus defeated death. Death is not my portion on this planet. I will never die. I will never die. I will never die because I have Christ and he is life. How can I have Christ? And that's where I would advise for some of you, if you're the one who's struggling with this concept of death and scared of dying, you may need to go back to the drawing board of the basics of salvation, because death is not your portion. If you are in Christ, death doesn't have a room anymore. It's like becoming immune to something. Jesus's blood is our immunity to death. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyways, so many things to come, so many different changes, and just things I'm actually excited about. Like when I was like, God, you actually gave me something to be excited about. I'm impressed, because I was like, nothing was exciting me. Not the thought of being nothing, not rich, not famous, not nothing. I was like, God, what can you possibly ask for me to do? But there was this one thing lingering in the back of my mind. And of course it was that he was like, well, so now I'm like, well, so yeah, super excited, new things to come. Also, I would like some feedback if anybody is listening of what type of things you guys think I should be talking about. I'm going to be talking a lot more about Hollywood again, because there's a lot to unpack. The funny thing is, these days it's hard for me to upload videos, because I genuinely could upload like 20 videos a day. There's so much to say. Anyways, you guys, if life's a game, it's pay to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.